JDG drafting here, taking away the Gnar, which is something Zoom has played in the top lane in the past, into that Renekton. And now JDG have to answer in kind. As 369, we talked about his Renekton is terrifying.
Of course, it's a champion that doesn't really have a lot of answers. I mean, 2 of its only answers are banned. The only other places you can think of looking is something like the GP, which obviously Zoom is very well known for.
So we do see this Nidalee that has been such a huge priority in this series so far for Kanavi. And looking towards the AD carry role, Loken gets this Ashe once more. We could well have the same bottom lane as before, but Karsa, he goes back to a comfort pick of old. He has 55 games of Gragas in his entire career, and he's won 45 of them.
And pairing it with the AD Soul Laner as well. So you have a lot of good ganking options coming out from Karsa. You can set up 369, you can set up Knight. And this is how TS has functioned all year long.
And this is something that is very much out of the meta. We do not see Gragas in the LPL, but now the Volibear locked in as well. Something that fell very harshly out of the meta once it was nerfed.
You just said, you know, champions that aren't in meta. Volibear really signifies that as well ever since the nerf he got on this patch. So we see him going back to comfort. It was his most played champion this split with 10 games. You have a bit of setup there for the Nidalee, but when we look at JDG, it's typically playing more around that bottom half of the map regardless.
So now looking towards the bottom lane with these bans here. The Tom Canch taken away from Yuyanjia and Bard banned from LvMao in kind. And now we'll see if JDG do keep on focusing Yuyanjia with these bans, because this has been their strategy throughout the series.
You know, the thing that I'm more interested in is seeing where Yagao goes with his mid lane, because we haven't seen anyone really counter-pick into Lucian. Lucian is such a strong laner. I have seen some people in solo queue pick up the Jace into it and try to go for that 50-50 lane that is a bit more impacted by jungle, and you already have poke elements in your comp with the Nidalee, so that could be somewhere that he looks.
So now with an Ezreal banned away from JackeyLove, they're saying, hey, go for the Jhin. We would love to dive you, buddy. We would love to get underneath that tower. As LvMao hovering on this Leona, it's something that he's incredibly confident on, but importantly, they're taking these comfort picks away from Yuyanjia. Nautilus still available.
So is the Thresh, which, again, despite the loss, he had a pretty solid game on it last time around.
Wow.
And this is not something we see here in the LPL, but it fits their comp really well. When you have Senna in the bot lane playing around with the Dawning Shadows for your soul laners is so great.
And let's bear in mind, JackeyLove is used to playing on the weak side in this bottom side, so Senna certainly fits the composition and the style of top esports. However, this is not something we have seen out of JackeyLove this entire split. And now final pick is Yagao bringing the Zoe out himself.
Which is really interesting because we've seen so many teams picking the Lucian into the Zoe, but after going head-to-head with it before and seeing how well Knight did in the lane, he has the confidence to pull it out himself.
I love how every single time we see the poll on the bottom of the screen, it's just 80% to whoever won the previous game. Immediately, fans sway on the other side. But I have to say, this is a real interesting one coming out from top esports with Lucian in the mid lane for Knight. We've got Gragas in the jungle, and then JackeyLove and Yuyanjia playing this exceptionally defensive bottom side.
Yeah, their comp is going to be exciting to see because I expect it to do quite well early on. You have the Lucian, you have the Renekton, you have Gragas playing for you, have the Senna support from the ultimate coming in at level 6. But even the scaling shouldn't be too bad because the Senna's going to scale up quite nicely. You have a ton of sustain in there for your bruisers in the front line, and you have the Braum shield to block all the poke.
Feels a little bit more like top esports are leaning into team fighting a little bit themselves as well. But also, with that global ultimate out of Senna, while you can play weak side on the bottom lane, you can impact the rest of the map. So if we do see these 1v1s with 369 and Zoom, if we see the junglers focusing on the top side, the advantage could go to top esports.
And I'd love to see them accelerate the pace of the game, not only for their champions in the Lucian and the Renekton, but also when you are playing against JDG, who have a bit more of, you know, this poke siege-esque composition coming out from the Nidalee and the Zoe wanting to play from a range. If this comp can't get in there first, get the vision down and really lay down that siege, it can struggle.
Well, we see top esports leaning on older comfort picks here with Yuyanjia on his Braum, with Karsa bringing out the Gragas in the jungle. But Kanavi sticking to what is strong right now and sticking to what he's been able to dominate on the past with this Nidalee pick. 2 AP junglers in, and our mid laners swapping picks. We're going to game 3 as Honor is on the line.
JDG 加油 JDG 加油 涛博加油 涛博加油
All
You know, Munchables, feels like the good old days with these Gyos back on the Rift.
It does. It brings a smile to my face.
It really does. Brings me back to watching last year and, you know, hearing the audience.
It feels fantastic. But you know what? When we look at this game, like, so much is on the line here. And we came into this series saying it was the best players versus the best team. And so far in this series, that's been relatively true. But on the side of JDG, we've had some pretty pop-off performances, especially from Yagao on that Lucian last game looking amazing. Kanavi as well on this Nidalee.
And speaking of pop-off plays from JDG, they're once again going for the level 1 invade.
Zoom's Camille didn't look so bad either last game, and he wants to repeat this time with a Volibear. They're onto the red buff. We could have a repeat of what we saw in game number 1. Red buff resets here.
The thing is, you're facing a Braum, and Braum is just so potent level 1 from being able to proc that passive on multiple members.
Top Esports want to make the counterplay now. LvMao could be in trouble. Flashes over the Dragon Pit.
What?
And now flashes on towards Loken. This is a bit of a weird one. Knight with a very uncharacteristic misplay.
I wonder if his
Oh
cursor...
my god, we're going to keep going here. Kanavi and Yagao is still going to keep putting their foot forward.
JackeyLove went to farm, so JG have man advantage.
Oh my goodness, how is this happening? In game number 3, everything on the line, but JDG will not be stopped. We do have JackeyLove on a flank here, trying to pinch. The red buff is going to reset once again. Top laners right now on an island, wondering what on earth is going on the bottom side of the map.
We're wondering what on earth is going on in the bottom side of the map. It looks like karsa's going to go farm his Raptors and try to get that quick level 2.
Knight helping out with this one as well as Kanavi gets the red buff. Karsa going to face check into this one. Knight is here. They want to fight for themselves. LvMao steps on forward. Yuyanjia trying to get the slow onto Loken. He does still have his flash available, but he's stunned. Might get taken down. Gets into the rest of his team. LvMao now stunned at the front line. Karsa trying to get away with his life. In goes Kanavi, but flashes over the wall as well. It's going to be first blood. Going the way of the Zoe, but it's utter chaos, and it's going in the way of JDG.
It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds, Watchables. Why do we have top lane TPs down at this moment?
And you know what? Against the Braum as well, JDG still come out on top of the play.
But both teams got pulled all over the place. We saw JackeyLove go to lane early on. Karsa gives up, tries to go to Raptors quickly, get that level 2, and he feels like he has the confidence going, but we see Kanavi's level 2 as well. They collapse on them. Karsa is forced to flash because you have so much more burst coming out from the Nidalee and Zoe. Loken forced to flash pretty early on as well. LvMao gets locked up, but Zoom TP's in for the support as well. We see Loken throwing out those volleys. Zoom just being the critical key member as well, having that man advantage.
Yeah, and able to get back up to this top lane as the wave crashes. Look at the CS numbers in the top lane. He lost barely anything because of the pressure early on. Let's take a moment here while we have a second to look at the jungle, because Karsa going with this Predator Gragas that we know and love.
Which we have seen a lot of people.
Oh, 369 is in so much trouble as Zoom wants a solo kill for himself. Forced away though in the end. They didn't know where Karsa was.
So we've seen a lot of people move away from the Predator ever since the changes, because talking to a lot of pros, they don't like the fact that you only now get the movement speed running towards the enemies.
Hold that thought, Lyric, because we've got another fight on our hands. Yagao could be in trouble as the flash comes in on towards Kanavi. 369 doing so much work, and in goes Knight to finish the kill. Now the storm comes from the sky, and Knight might just go down. Yagao flashes out with his life. Zoom has to try and finish this one off, but LvMao has arrived on the play as well. They might be able to extend this one, but LvMao looks like he's just going to play keep away for now. Zoom slowed though. Karsa keeping him in the fight. 369 trying to follow up, but the storm gives him a shield. Over the wall they go. Ruthless Predator, and another kill for Knight.
And Knight eating over the wall aggressively, knowing he has the front line there, knowing he has the damage. And now we're 3-3 on the board.
This is unreal, and Knight, importantly, has all 3 kills for the side of Top Esports. He has to be the carry that we all know him to be for his team.
And now we see Yuyanjia heading to this line that also reminds us the fact that, hey, you also not only have, you know, Braum with your ADC in the bot lane, you have Braum with Lucian on the same team. Lucian's so good at proccing those Braum passives with Lucian's own passive, so going to do quite well in a lot of these skirmishes.
And the beautiful thing is with that press the attack as well, that 4th shot offers so much burst, and there's so much available follow-up then to try and grab yourself a kill, try and grab yourself the play. And as we look across the map, Kanavi now, he wants to keep the action rolling as he moves to this top lane. 369 doesn't have a flash, and realistically, he ain't getting out of this one. Does a bit of damage, but the dots are stacking up, and Zoom Won't quite find the kill just yet. Kanavi's the one to finish it off.
369 expected Kanavi to go towards the bot side because, of course, we just had that skirmish in his top side jungle. His bottom side camp should be the ones coming up, as we saw they did. 369 thought it was safe for him to push into turret, try to find that advantage over Zoom, ends up getting punished.
So across the board here, we have an absolutely ridiculous start to this game. We could have another fight as Yuyanjia procs his shield.
We have more than 1 kill a minute. It's only been 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. We've had an insane start to this one. I will say, though, game number 1, we had an insane first 10 minutes, and then we had a big old slowdown. So let's quickly talk about how these two teams want to play the mid game.
For TS, it just keep going towards the top half of the map, keep enabling the Lucian especially is what I want to see. As we see Karsa doing right now, you will have very potent ganks coming out from the E. Your flash should be up soon as well if you want to go.
Karsa pops the Predator. He wants to make the play in the mid lane. Yagao going to be knocked up and should go down here. Another kill for Knight, who is popping off.
If there's any player you want to set up on your team, it's Knight on this Lucian.
I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in these mid-game fights when we get towards the Dragons, because let's remember, both Top Esports and JDG have the highest Dragon and Baron control in the entire LPL.
And sure, JDG might have bot side control, but you're facing a Senna Braum.
Yuyanjia's trying to 1v1
Oh
Kanavi.
my God.
Jumps over. Blastcode's going to be there, and he denies the correct jump. Now Root's going to come through. Kanavi has been found, and he's been taken down by Karsa.
And we see Yuyanjia with the 5-head 3000 IQ flash. Looked a bit dicey going in. Knew he could proc his passive. We see the Root coming out from JackeyLove, and another kill picked up in a bot lane that we were just saying, sure, this is a bot lane that's going to get pressured, but it's so safe. Senna Braum, you have so much sustain, you have so many resistances between you. You're not going to be able to punish this bot lane.
And it's so great to see Yuyanjia being this decisive player that can make things happen for his team. Because when you think about Yuyanjia at the very start of this year, when he was alongside Photic in that bottom lane, there was a lot of questions being asked. He was being subbed between him and Chocho. Even when it came to spring finals, we saw Chocho playing in that series. Now Yuyanjia very much has earned his spot on this team, and he's showing us why.
We've criticized Yuyanjia very much, and I'd say deservedly so, honestly, but TS were so smart in building this roster with so many veterans and then saying, okay, we're going to put in this new player who at least has the mechanics and can grow under the system. It was always going to be Rocky to start with. He's a long-term, project.
It's a long-term investment from Top Esports, and especially with JackeyLove in that bottom lane alongside him, if there's one person that can teach you how to play that lane, it's going to be JackeyLove right now.
And we've seen that's why they have one of the highest CSD at 15s. Actually, I think they do have the highest of any bot lane. Top Esports as a whole have the highest collective CSD at 15 in the LPL, so this is a team that does really well in these laning phases.
And that's the thing, we always talk about Top Esports as a team that kind of wants to win lane, win game. It's a similar story to what you'd expect from IG. Maybe not quite to the same extent, but it's all about these skirmishes once you've got some strength down the laning phase. And that's exactly what Knight has got this game. He's almost 20 CS up in that mid lane. He's already got himself a Cutlass. And it means that Karsa is happy to just waltz into the Rift Tower with no contestation from JDG.
Right, you have the Renekton, you have the Lucian. There's really no answer from the side of JDG. You have 4 kills on the Lucian anyway, so answering would be quite hard. Even if you tried to match a supporter AD carry roam, Senna already being level 6 would have the Dawning Shadows available to answer. But at least JDG are going to be able to translate their bot lane priority into a Dragon, knowing that Karsa's going to have to reset after that Rift Herald.
And I love seeing the confidence from Loken as well to try and force for a plate in that bottom side, trying to trade with JackeyLove while he can, while Yuyanjia's not in the lane. Kanavi going to be able to get this bottom side scuttle as well. But Loken has been an AD carry that, when you look at him last year, he was on Top Esports, and he was a player that received a lot of criticism when Top Esports didn't make it to the World Championship. Now he returned home to JDG, the team that he was on before Top Esports, and he has had a year beyond all years. The level of improvement out of this AD carry is honestly unprecedented.
I feel like Loken is a victim of lasting impressions, because even coming into spring or coming out of spring, a lot of people were like, he's just fine, he's just serviceable. But in spring, he felt like he had a really good split. And even more so in summer, when the rest of the team was collapsing. LvMao was playing horribly in those first 2 weeks. Zoom was having a tough time because he hadn't found new champions to acclimate to when teams started banning out the Ornn. And Loken was that guy that can fall back on who was carrying in those team fights. And it feels like people need to adapt their perception of Loken to being, I'd say, the most consistent AD carry in LPL.
And Loken had definitely found new champions because he was really enjoying Aphelios towards the start of this split. That has to be said. One of the better Aphelioses in the league at the time, but obviously that competition was pretty intense.
He was undefeated on Kalista in Spring. I think that's something
true.
a lot of people don't realize is this man's Kalista, my God, was it good.
I think that's the crazy thing is you can talk about AD carries of completely different styles on both sides of this bottom lane and say these guys are one of, if not the best in the role. 369 is in trouble as Zoom all-ins, but it's actually 369 turning it around. Dawnage Shadow across the team, but Zoom misses the ulti. 369 flashes away. Grasp not quite enough.
What a nice reaction coming from 369, but also well played from Zoom, who probably should have had that kill. 369 now going to have to recall. Luckily enough, Zoom's backing off, so 369 actually going to be able to walk up and catch that wave and get a bit more experience, but you'd expect him to have to blow this TP to get back to lane.
And let's just bear in mind the item advantage that Zoom had going into that play. Uh-oh. Kanavi is not going to let 369 go back to base. I think 369 knows that he is doomed in this one. Zoom's going to push the wave. The spears go in. Luden's hits. And now Zoom gets to walk underneath the tower. The stun goes down. It's answered with a stun from 369. But, I mean, what could you do there?
Nope, Knight's going to come catch the wave, but at least TS do have the Rift Herald, so they're going to put that down in bot side and get some plate gold onto JackeyLove.
This is what you can do there. You can answer on the other side of the map. That's exactly what Top Esports will do. Find themselves a whole boatload of gold.
Standard League of Legends much more. One team makes a play on one side, you go the opposite way.
It makes a whole lot of sense, right? But in the meantime, importantly, the one side of the map that hasn't been answered in is this mid lane. Yagao gets to push that in because Knight had to answer in the top side.
The great thing, though, is obviously Knight didn't miss it on any CS or EXP since he did go top, and he is sitting with about a 20 CS lead. And I mean, already has the Blade of the Rune King finish, so if he ever gets on top of Yagao, he's going to have to definitely burn that flash, or I guess in this instance would be able to use those heals.
Yeah,
double heal.
Seeker's Arm Guard is not going to help you. Not against the Blade of the Rune King. You cannot survive the burst that Knight has to offer right now. And not to mention, with a cleanse on this Lucian, it's not like Yagao can answer in a 1v1. TP coming on through to deny the recalls from JDG. Loken dodges the ult though, and a stun chain comes out onto 369. Loken surviving for now. He will gets stunned himself. They've turned it around onto 369. They can't quite finish the kill though. The heal comes from JackeyLove, and now the turnaround from Top Esports. They're trying to get on, but the root doesn't quite land. Knight is here. He's on the play. He has the damage. The culling blocked by Kanavi, and JDG somehow get away with it.
I mean, JDG are the ones who end up with the kill when TS are the ones all collapsing, but feels like we had some execution errors. I didn't see how Karsa's ult got used, but we'll definitely, I assume we're going to get a replay of that
right
one.
at the start of the play, he just missed it on
Yeah, I mean, you're going to commit E-Flash anyway.
So, unfortunate play here for Top Esports. They are still going to get themselves a tower off the back of that Rift Herald. JackeyLove getting a huge chunk of gold off the back of that one. Already has his Mana Moon. But importantly, in the mid lane and in the top side of the map, JDG are answering for this very one-sided play.
And JDG, like Zoom and Yagao, are not only getting plate gold, not only getting minion gold.
Oh, hang on. 369's in trouble. This turret no longer exists as Yagao moves in as well. Should be able to find a bubble, but the turret is back and Zoom's taking damage. Never mind. Yagao's got this one.
Yagao only hit his passive. He missed Sleepy Treble Bubble.
He
missed
one last Battle Star. One last one at the end, I think.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, it was.
I
was feeling a little nervous for them, but the burst came through at the last second. Yagao is going to finish this tower off. A lot of gold going into his pocket.
And going back, I was not only saying that sure they got minions, they got plate gold, but TS were also sharing all the EXP and losing out on farm on the bottom side of the map. So you are gaining so much more than even what it appeared to be.
So we're at 5-7 on the scoreboard right now, but gold is just about even as this Drake will be taken by Top Esports. And when we look across the scoreboard, honestly, it is almost exactly even. We've got even gold, we've got even dragons, we've got even towers.
All 3 games have been like this, to where, sure, maybe one team will be up 1 or 2K at 15 minutes, but then 10 minutes later, it'll flip the reverse way.
Well, Top Esports want to flip it right now in their favor. Root will come through onto LvMao, but no massive follow-up available. Trouble bubble though, actually, onto Yuyanjia. He's going to be fine. He's on Braum.
One thing to note about TS's comp that, we can see now in their formation is they do have a very strong 1-3-1 in the sense that, we see 369 going for the Blade of the Rune King. Lucian extremely strong right now, and Zoe can't match him in sides. So TS will be able to consistently look for side lane pressure as they did, and then move to the objective first like they did here.
And importantly, Zoom's TP is not quite off of cooldown just yet, so no way for JDG to contest this Rift Herald. This will be both Heralds going the way of top esports in this game. But Zoom has had so much time to himself on the side lanes. Look at the level difference between our top laners. Zoom is 11, whereas on the other side, 369 is only level 9. Hang on, we've got a nice paddle star onto JackeyLove, just about dodges away from the stun as LvMao goes in. Yuyanjia has a stopwatch to keep himself safe. Culling not going to do a whole heap of much as LvMao barely walks away with his life. Now onto JackeyLove they go, and Loken, in fact Zoom going to be the one to grab the kill. LvMao still got out of the play. It's a mid lane tower for a bot lane AD carry.
And they answer, but at the same time, Zoom also had to commit his TP to this play, so 369 is getting a bit of free time up towards the top side, trying to catch up in that EXP department.
And Lyric, this is where top esports are meant to shine. Knight is unbelievably fed. These fights around mid lane is meant to be what they are excelling at. This is where the individual players can shine.
We did see that turn into a 5v4 though, with the fact that Zoom did TP in. Also, the CC setup coming from JDG was very nice, as you pointed out. Nice lockdown coming in from Loken and setting up for LvMao. I feel like TS, their comp again relies a lot more on both of their laners defaulting to side lanes, pushing those out, moving first, and trying to get that man advantage.
They've not been able to find it so far in this game.
Even in that last one, I'm sorry, it was just very awkward because they were pushed into the enemy side of Summoner's Rift as well.
That's true. But their goal is that both sides of their side of Summoner's Rift. So maybe next time around,
true,
they just win the fight on the enemy side. 369 going to be starting these Krugs off, but Kanavi's not having any of it. Dominus immediately popped. And this is a fight that Renekton wins very easily, especially with JackeyLove's help.
Yeah, and yeah. Kanavi, jumps in, says hello to 369. We have globals.
Says goodbye to 369.
Yeah, I'll say we have globals on the side of top esports, so you are never by yourself. JackeyLove is always in their hearts.
JackeyLove is omnipresent in this game, assuming is available. 369 happy to get himself an assist because he's fallen pretty far behind when it comes to the top lane.
Yeah, he's at least finally been able to pick up that Blade of the Rune King, so it's going to start faring a bit better, to where Zoom's trying to get on Triforce, isn't exactly there yet, but does have a bunch of armor, especially with that Thornmail, so those trades not exactly going to go 369's way yet.
Not just yet. Zoom, and I mentioned the level lead earlier, Zoom has maintained that 2-level lead for himself, and a similar story in our jungle as well. Kanavi, level 11 to Karsa's level 9 right now. JDG starting to group up because Dragon's coming up in a minute and a half.
And looking at it, they are just going to be able to force through mid right now. Loken is pushing that wave. They should be able to secure vision. As we said every game, right? JDG have consistently defaulted to this Ashe, which just brings so much utility in that hawk shot. And now we're going to see that because they had the map set up first, they pushed out those side waves. 369 is going to have to go topside to answer.
Knight is moving to the bottom half of the map here. As you rightly said, 369 going to be pushing out in the top lane. Zoom has to respect the strength that Knight has, because even if he's tanky, with Blade of the Rune King as the first item, this Lucian can do work against tanks.
He's even almost at an Essence Reaver, so almost hitting that 2-item. Spike has all the mobility, and ever since the movement speed nerfs on the Q, getting onto a mobile champion like Lucian is just so difficult.
And it's important to see that Knight has just recalled, does grab that Essence Reaver that you just alluded to, Lyric, and now can get back onto the map just before this dragon spawns. This feels to me that both teams want to fight for the Drake.
And the thing we need to keep our eye on is that ward in mid lane that top esports have. If 369 can find a good flank there or on the control ward bot side, that is an avenue to them winning a fight.
There's a lot of poke damage coming out from JDG before the fight truly begins. Arrow goes in, Yuyanjia cleanses it. And they'll back away from the play in the end. 369, he's pretty sure he's still playing Fiora at this point as he stays up to the top side. Blade of the Rune King means he can split push a bit onto the mid lane tower because it's not going to be able to fire with a Volibear in the play. Dawning Shadow doesn't do a whole lot of much, and Karsa's stunned up, but he has a stopwatch to keep himself safe for now. Loken free firing in the meantime, but he's slowed by the barrel, and now they can collapse onto the AD carry. 369 from the backside, and he jumps into the play! 369, he's only rolling 9s today, and who says B1 Renekton's a sin? Throw away your Bible, because 369's here to stay.
369, again, going back to that TP ward that we talked about, finding a great flank. The rest of TSO buying time. Nice play from Yuyanjia. Great stopwatch coming in from Karsa as well. Now leading to this 20-minute Baron for TS.
And isn't this just a signature play from Top Esports? 20-minute Baron and Top Esports are synonymous. JDG, they're just going to have to settle for an Infernal Drake because there's no way they can contest right now.
You know, this is the scary thing about watching LPL compared to when I watch other leagues, is that teams are just so willing to pull the trigger on plays like this, whether they're good or bad, right? A lot of times they don't work out, but it's that decisiveness that just makes you question yourself of like, okay, what are they doing? They have the confidence to do this. Can we actually fight them?
It's a skill check region, I've heard it called in the past. So let's take another look, because Loken, I think, just stepped way too far.
And we saw Karsa buy time with that stopwatch. TP came in from 369, flashing in. Nice route, like you're saying, coming out from JackeyLove, and just secured 2 kills, forcing away the other 3 members. JackeyLove always bold, flashing in to pick up that last kill.
369 with a beautiful flank, and that kind of answers all of the deficit that he previously had in that top side as well. Those 2 extra kills has removed any kind of lead that Zoom had for himself. Importantly mentioned though, Zoom does now have his Triforce, so you can't underestimate the damage that Zoom's going to be able to do.
Now I want to see what map setup TS go with. We were talking a lot about the 1-3-1 early on, but I'd actually like to see them transition into a 4-1, just have Knight push out like he just did, and play a 2-lane setup for the fact that you don't want to give JDG a very easy way to engage onto your 3-man core.
The Colonel feels exactly about this series the same way that I feel about this series. I have no idea who's going to win this one. It's so damn close. The towers are almost even. The gold, though, is now in Top Esports' favor. But when you look towards the later stages of the game, JDG pretty much have their standard composition.
And it's great, right? The Zoe's going to be able to burst out so many targets on the side of TS. You have the consistent DPS coming out from the Ashe. You have a very viable frontline coming in as well. This time, it's a lot more like we talked about JDG Game 1, where TS's comp is all about this burst coming out from the Lucian Renekton.
A lot of burst coming out from Yagao there, but Yuyanjia definitely the guy that is happy to tank it up on the side of Top Esports as Zoom moves back towards this bottom side of the map.
And this map setup, the 1-4, is what I was just talking about, what we saw, where JDG are continuously going to look to overload one lane and force the 5v4.
Yeah, Top Esports are looking to find a pick, though. JDG really could respect not to go anywhere close to that half of the map. They understand this top tower is forfeit.
Yep, so TS still going to use their pressure quite well and at least manage to pick up an objective. It is, at least thus far, a 2,000 gold sweep coming from this Baron.
Good answer from JDG, though, to find a tower elsewhere on the map. It is a tier 2 for a tier 1, so certainly not an even trade, but a trade nonetheless. At least something comes out from JDG.
And it's actually not easy for TS's comp to really push forward into the base, because despite having double AD carry, it's quite low range when you have a Lucian.
Not to mention, when the composition out of JDG pulls the trigger, they pull it hard with an Ashe arrow coming on through. If a trouble bubble lands, there is a lot of ways to just annihilate anyone on the front line.
And the wave clear is quite decent as well, with Zoe having that Ludens, with the Runons being picked up for Loken as well.
So it'll be a tier 2 taken by the side of Top Esports. So that will be the last thing they get to do with the Baron buff. It's now timed out, and we reset to a neutral state. But importantly, that gold lead has extended a little bit more, 4,000 now in favor of Top.
And now we are keeping our eyes on the next dragon, which will be up in 1 minute and 40 seconds. So it's going to be about getting those resets down, trying to secure that bottom side vision. And JDG are back on the map first. You would expect them to be able to get it down. We already see Kanavi heading in. Now my question is, can we see TS find those same flank angles coming in?
Kanavi really wants that red buff, but he might sacrifice his own life for it. Might have to flash. He can jump over the wall here. Culling over, though. Kanavi barely gets away, but no, he's shut down by Knight.
It's twice. We saw him do this with Krugs earlier as well. Kanavi just wants too much. And now this should forfeit complete control of bot side to TS.
And I love that Knight is willing to flash over to make that play happen as well. He knows how important shutting down the jungler is, especially with Dragon spawning in 50 seconds.
And this has just been one of Kanavi's bad habits. Remember, he actually even did it against LGD, where Zoom solo killed, I think, Xie when he was on the Ornn, and then he goes and tries to get a Kindred mark on topside instead of taking the free dragon. So This is a very Kanavi-esque mistake.
Kanavi is the kind of player that will carry your game, but sometimes he tries to carry a little bit too hard, can step a little over force, and ends up losing out. This is one of those examples, and now Knight has complete control of this bottom side jungle. It's going to be difficult for Kanavi even to check in and get close to this dragon.
The great thing is they do have a lot of ways to check brushes coming out from the Nidalee, coming out from the Zoe as well, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but they definitely need Zoom there.
Knight right now is just having free time with this bot lane tier 2. He's got down half of the tower's health already because JDG had to worry themselves so much with just trying to find any level of control in the mid lane. Now the rotation on towards the dragon. Karsa's already started this one off. And there's no way whatsoever that JDG can make their way in before Dragon goes down. Might look for a fight after the play, though. Yuyanjia here to block any follow-up damage on 369. Knockup goes on to Yagao. Looks like JDG's still going for this one. LvMao doesn't quite connect the Zenith Blade, and that means top esports, they get the Dragon, they get out of it.
2 dragons apiece right now, but still a 5K gold lead on the side of top esports. Baron is going to come up soon, so once again, the resets are going to come out. It's about trying to get that vision for a nice Baron fight.
So I've just noticed an item coming on through here. Knight is now on the 3-item Lucian, and that is a terrifying concept right here because that Infinity Edge means he is going to hit like a truck, and when the double shot crits, your health bar's gone.
That's the thing is, a lot of people might be looking at this and thinking, okay, Knight is an AD carry, but mid lane Lucian in general kind of functions a lot more as a burst mage in my mind, where you get that one combo off and health bars go from 100 to 0 real fast.
He's like a melee Zoe, honestly, at this point. As I think Loken actually managed to get that red buff somehow. Now they move away as they have completely lost control of the jungle at this point. Zoom's going to recall because he knows he needs to get back to his team. Kanavi fighting really hard for vision in his jungle here. Spear's going to come out. Yuyanjia happy to tank it up.
And we see Zoom is looking for a flank angle. He was sitting in base, waiting for a place to TP. They see that TS don't give it to him, so he now starts to come out. But we saw in that exchange that TS's comp is just so good.
Oh my goodness, Kanavi's gone too far once again. Knight can't finish off the kill with the culling. But Kanavi, man, you got to be careful. That's his flash down with Baron available. Top esports, this is what they do.
Exactly. Like, if top esports get an inch, they're going to try and take it a mile. JDG forced into a pretty dicey situation.
It was all a bait. They want the fight. Root comes down onto LvMao. Can they find any more damage onto Yuyanjia, though? And that's Dawning Shadow burn. A lot used now as Zoom tries to find a play onto this Renekton. Flashes away from the stun. Will survive with his life. Oh, he wants to re-engage, but Zoom has to ult out.
Both teams being forced back, and you know, I was going to say, I guess it was actually a bait from Kanavi, knowing, hey, I'll go low. Top esports will go to Baron. We'll force them into us, but
I'll be able to flash away from Knight, who's alone in the jungle.
Yes.
He read them like
hey,
a book.
Spring MVP, man. Believe.
I mean, he was the spring MVP. I don't know if that... yeah. Maybe not. Maybe that wasn't all mind games. He's shut down now, and without Nidalee on the map, top esports, they have free reign of this Baron, but Yagao wants to put some pressure on. JDG not going to go down without a fight. LvMao denied the Zenith Blade. That was beautiful from Yuyanjia. And now they're going to chase down onto LvMao. I don't think he can get away, but flashes out with his life, and Loken slowed by JackeyLove to flash forward. AD carry on AD carry, and Yuyanjia grabs the kill. Top esports, they can do this all day.
And great job by JackeyLove to set that up. Looks like they're actually going to default to Baron once again, try and set up. It is a 3v5 right now.
It certainly is, but Yagao not going to let this one go without contesting whatsoever. Moves on in. Kanavi's about to respawn.
This is where a Zoe thrives, being able to fight over this terrain.
Bit more damage coming out, but the sustain from JackeyLove has kept them so damn healthy. Baron goes down, and JackeyLove wants to force a fight off the back of everything here. The slow, the trouble bubble should mean they can disengage as Yagao steals a flash to get out of it.
And top esports get them what they want. They get the Baron, and you know, I feel a bit bad because right as I praise Kanavi, he goes down. So that's some like classic caster person action. But Dragon coming up in a minute and 30 seconds. TS will now definitely be able to guarantee Prio to try and secure that objective. Lucky for both sides, we are not on slow point.
And let's just quickly revisit the items on the scoreboard right here, because when we look at the fact that JDG are trying to contest top esports 5v5, the mid lane is a full item ahead. In fact, let's take a moment here and watch in slow motion as Kanavi gets dunked.
Hey, that was some clutch experienced Karsa coming in. They set up for the turn. We see Yuyanjia come out with the ultimate. JackeyLove following up with the root. Zoom able to get away, though. We see a few Braum Qs miss, and this is where I thought, okay, JDG should be able to get away. But then we see JackeyLove flashing forward to that slow Yuyanjia going in as well to top it off.
We've got another fight on our hands here. Yuyanjia steps forward to try and get the marks onto Zoom. Gonna see the solar flare, but in goes the Renekton, gets a stun down and a Dawning Shadow to finish it off. Knight wants some more kills for himself. The Culling to finish off a double kill, and Top Esports, this is their map.
Why is Loken topside, Munchables? Why is Loken split pushing to a tier 2 topside?
You're the analyst, not me. I don't have an answer for you, Lyric, but Top Esports, they don't care. They're pushing in.
Yeah, they could just end. They have Baron minions. 2 people are
Loken
down.
is staying. We've got a base race cam because Loken looked like he was going to try and race, but get home! The game's about to end. Top Esports now onto the Nexus. JDG, they're meant to be the smartest team in the LPL. That is not what we are seeing here in game number 3. Top Esports, though, there is an answer from JDG, and they might just have to back off.
They still do have a numbers advantage. They have 2 cannons with Baron.
Oh, that's a trouble bubble onto JackeyLove. The redemption coming on through as well. Has to cleanse. Yuyanjia now stunned. LvMao forced out of the play. Rooted. But will keep his life here. JackeyLove going to shroud everyone as they escape. But the TP. Here we go. Zoom looking for the flank as JDG. They try and make a turnaround play to win themselves this game. Top Esports, they don't know what's going on just yet. They're going to re-engage onto LvMao. He's got himself a stone plate, but he's just not tanky enough. Goes down, but he's straight up JackeyLove. Now Loken trying to dish out the damage. Knight goes into the backline and absolutely bursts them down. But Yagao answers. It's Yuyanjia now on the play. Yagao versus the world as we see Doom just buying time for his mid laner. The damage coming on through. 369 Yuyanjia so damn low. And Yagao gets the kill.
And Knight almost did it. He got onto the backline. He dished the damage out, but when you flash into a Zoe, you're going to get bursted out yourself. Really clutch TP play coming out from Zoom to secure this dragon.
The Zoom flank is beautiful. The team fighting from JDG is what we always praise it for. JackeyLove caught out. Knight tried his damnedest to win the fight, but it's JDG who take it.
But Minions doing their best.
You mean Winions?
Yes, to secure TS the base. Looks like they potentially might even get this next Nexus turret.
It's okay. The cavalry has arrived. Let's take another look at this beautiful flank.
Yeah, so we see LvMao is going to go in aggressively right here. And the members of TS are trying to fight back. Karsa with a terrible ultimate. Knight goes into so much damage to the backline. Goes forward, gets bursted out immediately as well. We see that Zoom is doing such a great job of zoning the rest of the members from Yagao. Yagao comes in with a great paddle star as well. And now 369 and Karsa just had no way of closing the distance, so JDG are able to finish off these kills.
I love how Yagao gets a kill at the end with a stolen smite that came on through. Let's take another look from Zoom's perspective.
Yeah, does go in already using his full combo. His ultimate still not up yet. Is going to come up just about now. Dishing out all that damage onto Yuyanjia. Goes forward, throws out that beautiful ultimate, giving Yagao all the room to throw out these paddle stars. And just keeps going forward to dish out all the damage.
He's just invincible in these fights when JackeyLove isn't there to do the damage. And speaking of JackeyLove, 365, that's how early in the fight he got taken down. But just look at that. Knight did all of that damage pretty much in one burst. That was Yagao throughout an entire team fight. Still went down second. Here we go. Play onto JackeyLove once more. He has himself a stopwatch and LvMao's in trouble. In the meantime, Loken's just annihilated by 369. This Renekton paying dividends as Knight goes underneath the tower. The Culling to take down one. Looks for a second, but can't find it. Zoom now. Forced off the back of the play. Knight down to 1 HP. The spear won't quite land, though. 369 with the second one of the fight.
And this is why we say TS have some of the best players in the LPL, because any of them can step up in a moment like 369 just did.
Like Knight did as well, getting under the tower. We talk about Knight as one of the best, if not the best mid laner in the world. 11-2-1 on this Lucian. He tried in the fight, but this time around he gets it. And we're going to 4 games here because Top Esports are now 2-1, and in classic Top style, they're killing on the fountain. But they want this series for themselves.
And now JDG are going to have some questions to answer because, sure, we've seen in spring when their back's against the wall, they can handle the pressure. They have the coaching staff, they have the bond, the camaraderie to do so. But Summer Finals is a completely different beast. A lot of players view Summer so much more prestigious as spring. It really is the true crowning of that year, of the legacy. And now, with TS being on match point, right, this is where the nerves really come into play.
And when you look at the two teams, JDG, they won in spring. If they could win summer here, it would be back-to-back championships. But for the side of Top Esports, this would be their first ever title. The gold grab very much in favor. Knight just about top of the damage, but it was close.
I love the battle of the mid laners in this series. And once again, going back to these guys are longtime friends. They are from the same hometown. They used to play on the same PC Cafe team. Like, these two know each other very well.
They go to hotbot all the time, and now they're going head-to-head in the mid lane. Knight just about winning it out, but it was damn close between our guys. I'm sad that we didn't get to see the setup for that final fight that Top Esports managed to get to win the game out in the end. But I have to say as well, I want to quickly mention Zoom. Even though he loses this game, showing us that this Volibear pick, it is not nerfed to oblivion. This is still totally viable.
Well, and we saw two different things on the Rift. We saw Zoom showing us how, despite a champion being nerfed and perceived as bad, how it can still be useful. And then Karsa on the opposite side, where we saw, like, if you aren't comfortable on a champion, what can happen? Because, you know, Karsa still, I think, had a lot of good plays, a lot of great ganks, but a lot of bad ultimates. You can see he wasn't very practiced on the champion.
Yeah, and one person that had great ultimates was Yuyanjia.
Yeah.
This Braum, we talk about Yuyanjia as a guy that wants to peel. He loves things like the Tom Kench. The Braum is what he kind of made his debut this year in. And like his ult onto LvMao on the fight just after Baron was magnificent to deny the engage.
He played well. JackeyLove as well, I think, played extremely well. Despite him getting picked off a lot, I feel like that was more of JDG coming in clutch with their CC. Yeah. Loken's arrows were so on point, but we still saw whenever an aggressive play needed to be made, JackeyLove was always flashing forward.
Yeah, JackeyLove flashing at Loken during that mid lane brawl to get the kill. Beautiful stuff. We're going to go to game number 4, though. Top